Every day it's something new.
Yeah.
They're coming after family. They want to divide family. They don't want any gender. They want one gender. They want to attack everything that we've done over the years and go by their ideology. And they know, the left knows, especially the far left, the progressives, the crazies, they know that if they can get to our young kids, then it will change everything just in a short period of time.
What are you talking about? We want one gender. Like, again, he doesn't even know. They all know that they're supposed to say
restrooms.
Yeah, I guess, sure, unisex bathrooms, I guess in some areas, I don't know, but one gender, he knows he's supposed to say gender. He's basically Chat GPT, but kind of walking around and roughly alive. It doesn't know exactly what it's supposed to say. You guys believe there should be only two genders. If anything, you attack us for acknowledging other gender expressions and identities, not fewer of them. Get your talking points straight. In any event, he wasn't the only person focusing on gender. First of all, spoiler alert, they all were. But here's one more speaker on that.
So last Congress, I did something radical and extreme because remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's so extreme. I introduced a bill called the Protect Children's Innocence Act. Protect Children's Innocence Act. And let me tell you my great news this morning, ladies and gentlemen. It couldn't pass last Congress because, like I said, Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, and she doesn't believe in gender at all. But we have a new Speaker in our Republican majority in the House of Representatives. And I'm going to be introducing my bill, the Protect Children's Innocence Act, that will make it a felony to perform anything to do with gender-affirming care on children.
Big smile. Screw those people. I mean, some of them are going to feel ostracized, like their families are going to run them out, and they're going to, possibly some of them are going to commit suicide. But whatever, I'm getting applause right now, so that's really fun. First of all, I would like to warn everyone. I'm hearing updates that America is rapidly running out of genders because 3 minutes ago we only believed in one. Now we don't believe in any of them. Is it possible to reach negative genders?
No genders at all. And she wants to protect children's innocence until they're born. And then she doesn't care anymore. It's just the hypocrisy is really strong. And this is exactly what you said. I love the Chat GPT analysis. They're like, check, let me just say it. Let me just say it. Let me get the applause and move on. They really have no interest in really understanding the complexities of gender affirming care. You want to protect innocence, but you don't want to protect children's, mental health. You don't want to protect children from suicide. You don't want to check. I mean, the list goes on about how we can actually protect children, and it has nothing to do with what she just said.
Yeah. I don't have the text of her Protecting Children's Innocence Act right here, but I have a feeling it probably doesn't protect them from maniacs wielding AR-15s. Again, just like take a look at the sorts of assaults on their innocence. So a second grade teacher who doesn't exist, who wants to groom them or whatever, that's a big threat and needs to stop. But then being gunned down in cold blood. No, we don't need to do anything about that. The possibility that they won't receive a good enough education, access to higher education to live perhaps the sort of life that they might want to, that's not a destruction of their innocence or their potential. So forget about that. We don't need to do anything about that. It's all about the gender stuff, which as we know is the biggest issue that has ever faced American schools. Absolute garbage.
This is the same discussion they were having in the early 90s in regards to sex education and providing education about contraceptives, condoms, all that kind of stuff. And it's the same language. They wanted to protect the children. Don't listen, but they don't think about the aftermath of what hiding that information from children could do. So it's it's a new talking point for a new decade, but it's the same kind of thing where they think that educating children and providing resources to children is somehow perverting children. But if we just have our hands off, that's gonna be better. But we know from studies and they've done the research, we gotta educate children about safe sex. We have to educate children about, genders and gender identity and gender identity. Here's the thing that is getting so perverted by the Republican Party. Gender identity doesn't have to do with sexuality per se.
No, it doesn't.
So why are we mixing it up like it has to do with sex? It doesn't. It has to do with how you express your gender. So, they're really confused and they're in the dark about this. They don't care to learn. Like you said, they're just chat GPT bots. I love it. It's exactly what's happening.
100%, yes. I tweeted earlier today, just it's the conservative Google the difference between sex and gender challenge of 2023. It's not complicated. It's not about sexual orientation, and it's also not literally about your sex. It's a different thing. And they are more focused on gender than anyone in American history has ever been. They just will never say that that's what they're focusing on when they talk constantly about how terrified they are of not seeming masculine enough or male enough or alpha enough or whatever. They are like right now somewhere, Ted Cruz is terrified that someone doesn't perceive him as masculine. So they are very focused on that. They don't want anything other than discussion around how tanning your balls is gonna make you more of a man or whatever. They are super interested in gender and gender expression.
Wait a minute, John.
They just don't want you to be paying attention to it. What?
John, this is the second time you've mentioned tanning balls, and I just
it's a thing.
Does it happen?
No, it's Tucker Carlson did this stupid faux documentary where they had this machine that you stand in front of that microwaves your testicles or whatever to supposedly make you a man. It's not my thing, it's his thing.
It's interesting because probably this obsession of gender really has to do with patriarchy and toxic masculinity, and that like just like there's this fear of losing whiteness, there's a fear of losing this patriarchy power. So that probably is what's driving all of this. I don't know. It really is a lot of ignorant, baboons. Frankly, baboons probably are astute, but
100%.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.